Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here, returning to you pretty late tonight for this Kacey Musgraves album review for Deeper Well that I got a chance to check out for myself to see how I was going to think of this record overall. So I'm going to discuss what I listened to for all 14 songs, which is a runtime of 42 minutes, and let you know my thoughts on this record overall. So let's dive into this album review. Now, it starts with Cardinal, and off the bat, it's really melodic country. I mean, this one's pretty nice. Lyrically, it's well written, and Kacey Musgraves' singing is pretty solid. So I'd give this a pretty good rating of a 4.75 out of 5. I do dig this track. It's a good opening song. Deeper Well is the title track, is actually pretty good in its own way. So I'd give this a 4.75 out of 5. Then we get to Too Good to Be True. I think this one's solid. I don't necessarily hate it, but there's some moments where I like it and moments where I don't. So this is kind of hit or miss for me, give or take. But overall, solid song. 4.5 out of 5. I think some of the way Kacey Musgraves sings it from time to time has its strong points and its weak points. Then we get to Moving Out, and this is where the album starts to kind of decline a bit in its own way with solid tracks, and close to the end of the album it gets hit or miss, kind of. So pretty much Moving Out is another melodic, I guess you could say, country kind of style song. But overall, it's a solid track. So 4.5 out of 5, give or taker. This one's pretty solid too. I don't necessarily hate it. I just think the way Kacey Musgrave sings it from time to time, there's some moments where I like it and moments where I don't. So this is another 4.5 out of 5. Sway. This one's fine for what it is, so it's a 4.5 out of 5. I think Kacey Musgraves tries to make it work with her vocals in this track, and the melody sounds different, but it's the execution with how she's singing it is cluttery a bit from time to time. Dinner with Friends is a solid track too. I think it's nice for the acoustic work, and this album does have a lot of acoustic guitar work in this whole album. But overall, it's just some of the execution for certain songs that bring the rating down a bit. So, I'd give Dinner with Friends, excuse my yawning, I'm gonna be going to bed very soon. 4.5 out of 5. Heart of the Woods is pretty good. I mean, it's good, but it's a solid track, so I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5. Wasn't sure if I was liking some of the mixing in it, because the mixing was a little out of tune a bit. But overall, I think it tried. Melody-wise, it was a little out of tune, but the acoustic guitar work made it work. And some of the production in it is hit or miss. Jade Green is a 4.5 out of 5. I don't hate this track. I just think it's fine for what it is, give or take. I was trying to really listen to the song with the lyrics, but overall, she sings it fine, and the track didn't have terrible lyricism either. The Architect, I wasn't sure if I was going to like this one, but I think it's solid of a track. Pretty much talking about a home that burned down, and then she's trying to talk to the architect about reestablishing it and rebuilding it. I guess, I don't know. That's how I'm looking at it. There might be a different meaning behind the song, but overall, structure-wise, I think the song works, so it's a 4.5 out of 5. Lonely Millionaire is, like, below decent, in my opinion. I'd give it a 3.75 out of 5. I don't know, this one was kind of hit or miss for me. It's not really a favorite. It's probably in the range of average and decent, so it's in the middle, so below decent. 3.75 out of 5. I don't know, lyrically it didn't work for me personally, because the lyrics kind of threw me off a little bit. Then we get to Heaven Is, and that one's pretty solid of a track, so I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5. I didn't hate this song necessarily, but overall, the execution works for some of it, so it's fine. Then we get to Anime Eyes. This song was a little bit cringy. I didn't hate this track that much for majority of it, but the bridge part is kind of the weakest part of the track, and not in a good way. So this is a 4 out of 5 for this one. It's decent, but majority of the track does fine, except for the bridge. The bridge of the song is the cringiest part where she mentioned Sailor Moon and all that, and I'm like, that's kind of a little off-putting with how you sung it. So Nothing to Be Scared Of is the closing track to the record, and it's a pretty solid closing track to end the album, so I give it a 4.5 out of 5. So overall, production, mixing, and execution-wise, I found myself thinking this record was decent. Not anything that I was a fan of, but it's not something to write home about with Kacey Musgraves' newest album, Deeper Well. But overall, I think majority of the tracks had something going for it, but there were a few like least favorite tracks, I guess you could say. The ones that got like 4 and 3.75 out of 5 were the most least favorites. The other ones are solid, and then 2 of them are pretty good. So pretty much the solid ones and the pretty good ones are the ones I'd most definitely come back to. So this is a record I'd come back to occasionally, but not a lot. So pretty much, if I were to give this album an overall score, I'm going to give Kacey Musgraves' Deeper Well album a 7 out of 10. It's decent, and the only reason why is because Lonely Millionaire had some cringy lyricism. I mean, it wasn't terrible, it just was below decent. It wasn't anything that was mind-blowing of some sorts. But overall, decent record. Not something I would say is better than Star-Crossed. Star-Crossed was, in my opinion, better than this record. But hey, you're going to have your hits and misses with albums. This one wasn't a complete miss, it was just decent. So, 7 out of 10 for Kacey Musgraves' Deeper Well for her newest record. Thank you for watching this album review tonight. Have a good night.